Hey guys, Mike here. So big week setting up here, and I'm going to, especially one in particular chart is extremely important and could have a huge breakout, as well as we are kicking off earnings season this week, so pay attention to that. Now, looking at what's going to happen here on the futures, we're going to start to open up here as I'm recording this right here, but the bulls held a couple different levels, actually turned them into support. So we can see right here, this was resistance many times, big breakthrough on the jobs numbers, which I'll get into more about that tomorrow, and ended up green on the day by quite a bit. So again, this was support. Bears could not push it through. Bulls held multiple times. And so again, these levels are starting to get turned to support, right? So that's a bullish thing for now. Again, that's not going to mean there's not going to be volatility, big drops like you see right there. That's absolutely going to happen, no doubt about it. I actually did add in prior day's high, prior day's low right here. And we look over here, it's not going to surprise me if we end up pushing up to this area here overnight or maybe in the morning and take prior day's high, you'll be in a discount window into an area which has been major resistance. And lately we have been getting some really nice pullbacks when this has happened for sure, okay? And you'll see we really don't have any kind of data to springboard it up or to push it down or anything like that. But when we look at this right here, we're already sitting here on this big move, already in a discount window to begin with. And so it's not going to take much to push us above that right there to do it. But I am going to watch this trend line right here as well, because what we've been doing is following a trend line overnight. Then when we break it, see a nice big move down or decent move down, whichever one you want to do it, which absolutely lines up with this area. We're trying to figure out, are they going to turn this into support and start springboarding off of it? Because we break back through it, obviously, we're heading back down to prior day's low and could be heading back down to that shade area right there. So just keep an eye on that. It's kind of your two scenarios to watch out for. Some charts to really pay close attention to, and this is what I'm talking about when I talk about bulls and bears, right? You can see the Dow, the SPX, and New York Exchange, all still holding what? You see this formation where it's kind of like this cup and handle? All still holding the August highs. Still have not been, the bears have not been able to push it down below that. So that is actually a good thing. If you do break those, then you can definitely, we're going to see quite a bit more downside, but it has held that, right? It's an important level, as you can see, once it broke above it. And so it's a breakout level, nice support level, and one to watch out for here. I think I've talked about this one a couple of times, but it's going to be the IGV. It's the iShares Expanded Tech Software ETF. You see this cup and handle like formation right here. And when you look to the right, that right there is the XLK to the right, okay? Same exact formation, except if you look on the right-hand side, this is what it did look like before you end up having a really, really big breakout. So here's your cup and handle. Here's the resistance right here, comes down, forms the handle, again, gets rejected off what is resistance, and then finally ends up breaking through. And we pull out, you can see what could happen for the IGV. All right, big move up here, and it's during the same time range, right? This is November where it had its breakout right here, which is something what we're kind of expecting for year end. And of course came down and went on to explode even higher. And so in this IGV, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's like Adobe and these other software companies that have been on pretty good runs higher. And so if this breaks above, you get to see what could be in store for us. So watch out for that one right there going to year end. Now, looking at the SPY, very simply, we're above the 21 moving average. We stayed above this level we talked about. Actually broke above that trend line, which we have talked about, which puts all-time highs, which is shockingly enough, right there. Even though we're in October, even though we're in a volatile month, there is your all-time high, which is like 0.28% away. I mean, nothing. And so it's just kind of crazy when you think about it. But that's where we're at. So, you know, as long as it holds at 21, you're seeing it's still in the range right there between 56.75 and 57.69. And, you know, could we continue to stay in that range? Absolutely. No doubt about it. Look at the Qs. Above the 21 EMA right there. You can see this one right here. That's actually all-time highs. I'm going to put a trend line on right there. Am I expecting to hit that in the next week or even October? Absolutely not. I expect to kind of just have a lot of chop and see if we stay in between like 480, 490, somewhere in that range, but we're not that far away, okay, which is kind of nutty. But you can see it did break that trend line we put in there to see if it will bust out, and that's exactly what happened right there. And we zoom in, you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to mark out 494, see if we break that. That'll put all-time highs in perspective. If we end up breaking down below what looks like to be around 485, and you can go ahead and bet money that got down there is probably going to end up getting filled. That's the one that got touched, and then you had a nice bounce above. And these aren't large ranges at all, okay? So just keep that in mind, not large ranges at all. So you saw the 21 EMA get respected 3 times in a row before the breakout right there. But when we go over to a larger picture on the Qs here and go to a monthly chart, you can see this channel right here. It's really a perfect channel, right? And we're basically at the top of it. We rejected off of it a couple months ago, and now we're just kind of grinding somewhere to the top of it. So again, that's all-time highs there. We can continue to do that. But at some point in time in channels, you either break out of them or you come back down and revisit the bottom, which a lot of people expect to revisit the bottom sometime in 2025. That's what a lot of projections are showing right there. But again, if we end up hitting anywhere near the projections for year-end, and we do have a year-end rally, then definitely to the top of that channel we will definitely go. Doesn't mean we got to break out of it. Could just mean we just grind up against it and just keep moving higher. But again, just watch that. If it does break out, then we'll watch for support to come back down. But right now, that is a beautiful monthly channel. And when you look at IWM, this to me looks like a bull flag. Looks like it's setting up for a breakout. I showed you where usually in that year-end rally, you know, small caps can do really well, and you can see it's just kind of consolidating down there. That was like a bull flag to me. So we'll mark it out. You can see multiple touches on top and bottom. And so, you know, if it does get a nice push higher, we'll pull up our volume profile and see where it can go. And you can see there's not a lot of resistance above. Remember, that's all-time highs to the left. Okay, so that's back in 2021, I believe it is. And so, again, not a whole lot there if we decide to get a big push on small caps coming into year end. And usually November, December have been pretty good for small caps. NVIDIA did break out of that descending trend line and actually close above it. And so we've had this breakout before, sold back down into it, but we did close above that. And that 124 right there is key, right? If we break that, 130 definitely will come in handy. Again, this bullish push was from the CEO out there talking about all kinds of stuff and the Blackwell demand being huge. And so it was, you know, a news push higher. We'll see what comes Monday for this and where the market wants to go. If we do fall back in, again, the trend line right down below, which has been support and resistance, will come in handy there. AMD, we talked about this one probably for weeks, honestly. And you can see with this one, perfect support level where the 200 was and that volume profile there, big bounce. And now it's in that volume gap. So again, push higher for semiconductors, especially AMD. This one can, you know, cut through these volume gaps like a hot knife through butter, take it up to around 179, 180 right in there is what would happen before it hits nice resistance. You see that shaded area? See multiple times where we have hit resistance and been rejected and had nice pullbacks in that area. So let's keep an eye on that one for sure. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it even better right there. But congrats for anybody who's been riding up AMD and stuff. So worked out pretty well. Now, when you come over here to Tesla, obviously I was hoping we were going to reach that 200 and all that stuff, but we did not even come down there because it ended up just skyrocketing up 5%, you know, pretty much right out of the gates right here, and left a big old gap right there. And so, you know, again, we got, you know, zooming on this, a lot of support down below. So if this pushes back down, there is somewhere the 200 weeklies at, support level, bottom of the channel, right? Major trend line goes back for a couple years right there. And so that's where it actually bounced, was the trend line. That was the move there. And so we'll put these gaps here just in case it wants to fill it. We know how it is when it gets in gaps. It fills them pretty quickly, whether it's down or up. And so we'll put these in here, see which way this is going to move down on Monday. So the big question on everybody's minds is, you know, is the Robotaxi Day event going to be a sell the news event? That's going to be the big one. There's rumors they're going to roll out all kinds of stuff on the 10th. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know how you're playing it. Now, hims and hers, I talk about too often, but they're going to be included right here, as you can see, in the S&P Small Cap 600. That's usually not a bearish thing for a stock, right? And this is one of these high flyers that has big moves up and down. As you saw, it had a nice little drop, like a double-digit drop the other day, and people bought it right up. So it is holding that ascending trend line right there where it bounced at the 50 moving average as well. 100 is above it, but it is being wedged right now in this triangle formation. So, you know, could move up to around 1875. It gets to the 100. It goes all up to that trend line right there, to about $20. And so that is good news for it being actually included in the S&P 600 right there. Now, when it comes to Chinese stocks, I couldn't find an official like Bloomberg type source on this, but I saw others on Twitter talking about this. So if you find one, let me know. I'll look for it. So maybe this doesn't happen, but I figure I got to report it anyway. But you see Tuesday, October 8th, at 10 a.m. are going to provide an update on their QE package. And so if that happens and they're saying, yeah, we're going to throw more into it, obviously we know HSI we talked about, which is at resistance right here. And if it gets above that, I mean, it could explode even higher, believe it or not. I mean, we know what liquidity does for a market. You've seen how crazy this move has been. You would think there's going to be digestion at some point in time, but hedge funds just continue to plow this thing up. And if a pullback does happen, if they're doing more QE, then these are definitely going higher. If they don't continue to do QE, then you'll see even a better pullback because they need a lot more quantitative easing for sure. Now, earnings, you're going to have a big earnings kickoff here this week. PepsiCo, no big deal. Obviously, you can see some on Thursday, Delta, Domino's. The big one, though, you got your banks on Friday. Remember, the market's going to go how the banks go. So if they start reporting terrible stuff going on, not a good thing for the market for sure, but a lot of people are going to be listening to them, especially when it comes to interest income and refinancing on all this kind of debt we got that the corporations and people, for that matter, need to refinance. Now, it is a light news week, as you can see right here. Really nothing Monday or Tuesday. Crude oil 10-year bond auction on Wednesday, and then you get the big stuff on Thursday, Friday. Okay, we get the core CPI, and then regular CPI month over month, and then core PPI, and then PPI month over month, and then of course consumer sentiment stuff's going on. So really light data week. So if that inflation data comes in really good, hey, you know, you pretty much bet the market where they want to go, because this is all about this soft landing narrative. Okay, that's what this is all about, guys, big time. And especially we listen to the banks as well. So let me know how you're playing it and stuff, and long-term investments you're kind of looking into and stuff with where the market's at right now. So please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Feel free to sign up for the membership. It's everything you get with it and stuff. And I'll see you guys later.